introduction, I want to take her across the country with me. And Janet is a tireless fighter for not only for Latinos in the country as the major Latino civil rights organization, but for civil rights for people across the spectrum of our country. And we appreciate her service. Quiero darle gracias a todos ustedes que hicieron un peregrinaje aquí a Washington en busca de la justicia para nuestros hermanos y hermanas. Mi respeto y admiración por venir aquí y alzar su voz. We are gathered here this morning in a holy place. It is a venue that brings to mind a verse from the scriptures, Leviticus 19:34, which says, "The stranger who resides with you shall be to you as the native among you, and you shall love him as yourself."
All right.
The men and women in this room have come from all over the nation on a journey for justice, just as people from all over the world have made journeys to this country following the bright beacon of hope that lit their way. My parents came to America in search of a better life for their family. I saw my mother work very hard in the factories as a seamstress. I saw my father work hard as an itinerant carpenter so their children could have the opportunities they never did. The very same dreams and aspirations that brought me here have been a driving force behind this nation since its inception. The contributions of immigrants to this country are undeniable. We serve in the armed forces of the United States with distinction. The first person to fall in the service of this country in Iraq was a Latino, and he wasn't even a United States citizen. And when we talk about immigration, I remind people about the reality of our service to this country. The fruit that we may have had for breakfast this morning was picked by the hands and bent back of an immigrant laborer. And the chicken we had for dinner last night was likely plucked by the cut-up hands of an immigrant laborer. And if we have an infirm loved one, their daily necessities are probably tended to by the steady hand and warm heart of an immigrant aide. My friends, we find ourselves at a unique time in this nation's history. We have an opportunity to finally fix our broken system of immigration, and in doing so, strengthen our economy and renew once again the great promise of this nation. Today, we're all here to send a very clear message. Comprehensive immigration reform cannot wait, it must not wait, and it will not wait another year. Shadows and into the light of promise. We cannot stand by to see raids instead of reform in our country. We cannot stand by when even legal immigrants and U.S. citizens are unlawfully detained. We are not second-class citizens in this country, and we refuse to be accepted. To reunite families who would otherwise have to wait in line sometimes for up to 20 years to see their loved ones again. When Mother Teresa was asked what others could do to advance peace in this world, she answered simply, "Go home and love your family." In the immigration debate and in Congress, those are words that we should live by. And that's why I've reintroduced the Reuniting Families Act. We cannot wait. We cannot wait to reap the economic benefits of reform so that we can end unfair competition from employers who violate labor laws and pay illegally low wages, so more workers and employers contribute their fair share of taxes, so we can level the economic playing field for all those who follow the law. The broken system doesn't affect those simply who immigrate to this country. It It doesn't just affect students who can't go to college because their parents didn't fill out the right paperwork when they were children, or those who are separated from their families for decades. It affects all of us in America. Now, those who argue that we should not achieve immigration reform because we are in tough economic times have it completely wrong. Immigrant laborers often perform the jobs that are so important to sustaining higher-level jobs. World-class chefs can't run a restaurant without busboys. Skilled machinists have to depend on construction workers to install the products they manufacture. And hotel managers can't run a hotel without maids and bellhops. We need this. Finally, we need comprehensive immigration reform that complies with the Constitution of the United States and honors our heritage as a nation of immigrants. We need a reform that strengthens our economy by making employers pay fair wages. And we need a reform that strengthens our security by helping us learn who is here to seek the American dream, which is the overwhelming number of immigrants in this country versus the few who might be here to destroy it. And above all, we need a reform that protects the dignity of all human beings who call this place home. Making this happen, I will not mislead you, making this happen is going to be hard. It is going to take a continuing effort, and it will take us not only in rallies like this, but in working in each of our states to turn public opinion, to make sure that those who represent us here in Washington see the light. I believe Adlai Stevenson said it best when he said, when I get the heat at home, I see the light in Washington. We need to make sure that we generate a lot of heat at home as well as in Washington. But courage is something that has never been in short supply in this country. And it certainly is not in short supply in this room. And let's not forget, we have one other advantage. The American people, at the end of the day, I believe are on our side. We have seen in election after election how those who spread fear and hatred of immigrants are defeated by the voices of progress and hope. We have seen in poll after poll that the public clearly wants reform. And we have seen in voice after voice lift up in support, in churches and in union halls, on the small roads of rural communities and in marches to the streets of our biggest cities, from town halls to state capitals to the hall of Congress, all the way to the White House. I am looking forward to being with President Obama next week when he holds a session on immigration reform at the White House. We saw a transformational election change the course of this country's history. Now it is time to turn that victory at the polls into a legislative victory for our community. With the growing chorus of voices in the Congress and with the leadership of the President, we will achieve comprehensive immigration reform. We can transform our politics and our policies so they reflect the best of our nation. But in the meantime, as we move towards that goal, we will keep marching, we will keep speaking, we will keep organizing, and we will keep voting until we have brought our brothers and sisters out of the darkness into the light, fulfilled America's promise, and be able to achieve even greater days ahead.